Hello, everyone. Today's video is for Wednesday, April 15th. Our learning objectives for today are that I can evaluate an argument's claim, reasoning, and evidence, and I can support my evaluation with textual evidence. Both of these learning objectives are not new. We are continuing on our work of analyzing arguments using iReady, Think Circa, and our textbook iReady. So that's what we're going to do today. I'm going to go ahead and go through the iReady lesson 18, and then you will have the opportunity to do the practice Google form after you watch this video and reread the text if necessary. A couple of reminders. Please make sure that you are working on your evaluating arguments practice. This is due on Friday, and that you are also spending some time doing Lexia. Let's go ahead and dive into this reading together. This is an editorial called Say No to Censorship by Marcos Suarez. A yearbook is a special collection of memories that will be treasured by students for decades. However, some school authorities insist on dictating what students can and cannot include in yearbooks. Teachers often remove articles and images they feel are inappropriate. Authorities should not ruin this treasure by censoring yearbooks and removing what they believe to be unsuitable. Now, I'm going to pause here because I think there are a couple of words that we need to make sure that we understand. And that is the word dictating. So if you dictate something, we've talked about this. We've talked about the root word dict in our Greek and Latin word studies, and dict means to say or tell. And so if school authorities dictate, they are telling students what they can and cannot include in yearbooks. Teachers often remove articles and images they feel are inappropriate. We understand that. The other word that I want to make sure that we understand is censoring. You may have heard of censoring in terms of censorship with music. So like the radio will bleep out or censor certain words that are not necessarily seen as appropriate for all people's ears. So that would be an example of censorship. All right, moving on to paragraph 2. Educators need to respect students' right to free speech. Everyone needs to be reminded that the First Amendment of the Constitution protects freedom of expression. This fundamental right should be upheld and appreciated. School authorities also need to acknowledge how much students learn when they can express themselves freely. Students need more opportunities to develop their creativity. Creative expression will allow students to create interesting yearbooks that capture all of their school experiences. Those who feel that yearbooks should be censored need to explain their goals. They may claim that they want to protect students, but aren't they really trying to promote their own values? Authorities need to be open and honest about what they want to accomplish by censoring yearbooks. Teachers should work together with students to define and discuss the word objectionable. Respecting students' opinions on censorship will empower students and allow school yearbooks to be the treasure they deserve to be. All right, so one more word I want us to mark is objectionable. Obviously, we see the word object in there, but that can also be the word object, which is to like go against something. So essentially in this 5th paragraph, the author is talking about how students and teachers need to come up with sort of an agreement on what they think is objectionable, what things they think other people might go against or see as inappropriate. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and take a look at the close reading in our little study buddy over here and see what he suggests we do. All right, so he says, as I read, I'll figure out the author's claims about censorship and the reasons and evidence he uses to support his claims. Okay, so overall, what is the author's argument? Underline it and circle the first claim the author gives as support. Now remember, argument is the overall thing that the author is trying to prove or get us to believe or do. Oftentimes, if you've been looking in our Think Circa lesson, this has been pointed out, but oftentimes in an editorial or an article like this, the argument will be put in the first paragraph because the author wants to get that point across really quickly. So if we skim back through the first paragraph, we're looking for what is it that the author is trying to prove or trying to get us to believe. Aha. Let's take a look at this final sentence. Authorities should not ruin this treasure by censoring yearbooks and removing what they believe to be unsuitable. Do we see an opinion in here? We do. This keyword right over here, should, helps us know that this is an opinion, right? This is not a fact because it includes someone's belief, which is indicated by that word should. So I'm going to go ahead and follow what the study buddy suggests, and that is underline the argument. So the whole argument itself is that authorities should not ruin this treasure being the yearbook, by censoring yearbooks and removing what they believe to be unsuitable. Okay, so overall, throughout that whole article, this is what the author is trying to get across. And now we're looking at sort of what claims does he use to support this argument, to support his belief that authorities should not censor yearbooks. So let's go ahead and step into paragraph number 2. Educators need to respect students' right to free speech. Everyone needs to be reminded that the First Amendment of the Constitution protects the freedom of expression. This fundamental right should be upheld and appreciated. Okay, so if we look in that second paragraph, what sort of claim is the author using to support the fact that, or support his idea that yearbooks should not be censored? Well, we have the claim right here. This is his first sort of part of the argument. Educators need to respect students' right to free speech. Now, he goes on to then talk about the First Amendment. I'm not sure if y'all have talked about the First Amendment yet. I know in 7th or 8th grade, you'll get more into like American history, and you'll talk about the Constitution. But essentially, the author sums up for us that the Constitution, or the First Amendment, talks about the freedom of expression. So this is like the free speech, which helps protect like the press, the newspaper, books, even like media, YouTube. The Constitution says that people should be able to say what they want. So the author is referencing that to kind of support this idea that people have the right for free speech. If we scroll down a little bit, let's look back at what the author's second claim is. So we can go ahead and move to a new paragraph because we know that a paragraph contains one idea, and then when the author is ready to switch, he'll move to a new paragraph. So let's look here again. School authorities also need to acknowledge how much students learn when they can express themselves freely. Does that support the idea that authorities should not ruin the treasure by censoring yearbooks? I think it does. So we can go ahead and highlight that as another claim that the author is making. School authorities need to acknowledge how much students learn when they can express themselves freely. Ooh, Miss Stewart, look at this underline. It's squiggly. Oh, very good. Okay, so they would like for us to label that claim number 2, and I think that's a great idea. And then, circle the claim number 2. Goodness, Miss Stewart. Well, all right, guess what? I've underlined it, people. And then underline any evidence, if any, that the author provides. Okay, so does the author provide evidence that students learn more when they can express themselves freely? He doesn't really give any facts or statistics. So I would say that the author is probably lacking some evidence here. If he was able to say, a study shows from California in 2013 that when students had the opportunity to express themselves freely, they had this much of an increase. That would be the kind of evidence that would really support this claim. Really, he just is sort of saying this whole thing kind of is a claim, right? It's his, it's his opinion of what students need to be able to do. He doesn't really back up this claim with evidence. So we can actually kind of ignore that second part because we've deduced that that there really isn't a lot of evidence to support that claim in that paragraph. Okay. So now that we have gone through what the study buddy says, we have marked our texts. You will have the opportunity to reread this text. I have copied it over into the iReady Lesson 18 form. which you can access either at the bottom of this Google Doc or up here in the agenda, iReady Lesson 18 Practice Google form. Essentially, if you've been following along and you've been completing the Google forms, I know Sincere, Mackenzie, Rita, you've been really good about completing these Google form practices. This is just going to follow the same sort of template. I've got the text in here one more time, a place for you to give your name so that I can see who's done it and give you feedback. And then there are 2 multiple choice questions. These come straight from iReady, and they are all about evaluating the author's argument and looking at the First Amendment. Now, I know that you don't have a paper copy of this, but you are also welcome to look back over here at this video while you work, because the video will have all of my annotations or my marks on the page, and you can listen to this lesson as many times as you need to before you take the Google practice. So you have this resource available to you. I'm also going to be on Zoom today from 2 to 3, and I can walk through things with you or help you if you are feeling stuck on any of the concepts. I do also want to point out, I've had 2 people complete the evidence assignment. This is the one that we are working on this week. This is just kind of a setup of everything that you have seen from Miss Courtney and me so far on Think Circa. Evidence is really what I want you to be focusing on, though, because this is going to help you as we start to actually write or create our own arguments very soon. You can go through this lesson one of 2 ways. You can either manually click through it just like I am here, or you can press play.
Welcome to Think Circa mini lesson, Evidence.
And it will actually talk you through and kind of treat this as like a direct instruction, just taught by the Think Circa experts instead of me. Okay. So please do make sure that you are working on that. You should, once you go through the slides and take notes, I want to shout out Mackenzie. She's taken some really good notes that she's showed me via Zoom over evidence, and then you are going to want to do the comprehension check. That's what your sort of that's where your feedback and your grade will come from. If you take it and you aren't satisfied with your grade, let me know. You can hop on Zoom, you can message me on Dojo, and I can help you with some of the questions you're struggling with, or we can at least talk through it, and then I'll give you an opportunity to take it again and show your improved lesson understanding and comprehension of this content. Okay. So again, just reach out to me. I can't read your minds. Sometimes I could read your minds in the classroom because I could see you and I knew I could watch you calculating things in your brain. But from a one-sided computer screen right now, I don't know what you're thinking or if you need help. So I am asking you to advocate, which was another Greek and Latin root word that we practiced. I'm asking you to advocate or speak up for yourself to support your learning needs right now, and reach out if you have any questions, okay? I love you all. I miss you. I hope this video was helpful. Zoom with me at 2 p.m. I will post the Zoom code underneath this video, and it is also posted on Class Dojo too. Okay, so love you all. Take care, and can't wait to see your work on this very soon. Thanks, guys.